Hello, weight loss surgery family. This is Rachel, also known as On My Way Down VSG on YouTube or On My Way Down 174 on Instagram. And I'm coming at you 49 weeks post vertical sleeve gastrectomy weight loss surgery or VSG surgery. My high weight was 363 pounds with a BMI of 51. And on July the 6th, 2017, I had surgery in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico with Dr. Villarreal, weighing 319 pounds with a BMI of 45. And I beat obesity on January the 11th, 2018, weighing 215 pounds. And my current weight, by the skin of my teeth, is the same as the last 2 weeks. So for 3 weeks, I've weighed 184 pounds. But I can just be grateful that I'm back at that number after the week I've had, which we'll get into that. So in the last 49 weeks, I've lost 135 pounds. And I had to do a 1 week pre-op liquid diet. And if you count that, I've lost 142 pounds. And from my highest, I've lost almost 180 pounds. So I'm almost exactly half of my original high weight. But I'm not where I need to be yet. To have a normal BMI, I need to weigh 179 pounds. So I'm a few pounds away from that. And I'd like to give myself some wiggle room. So that's why my Instagram name is On My Way Down 174, because I'd like to have that 5-pound wiggle room. So we'll see. That's what I'm going to work to get towards before, sorry, messages got distracting. Before my 1-year surgery, that's what I wanted to do. So we'll see about that. So why is my weight the same, and why is it by the skin of my teeth? So you know that I must have gained some. But I've really been dreading making this video, just because it's just embarrassing that it's embarrassing that I'm still dealing with these issues. It's embarrassing that that even with surgery, well, I guess I'm just always going to be dealing with these issues. I really thought that, I was in denial before I had surgery. I told the psychologist that I didn't ever binge. I told the doctor that I never binge ate. I told them that I didn't have a food addiction. But hindsight's 20/20, and I definitely do have binge eating episodes, and I definitely do have a food addiction. So I'm trying to deal with that now, and it definitely crops up, and it has more recently. Some of me wonders if it is some self-sabotage. I mentioned before that I'm somewhat scared of maintenance, and I wonder if I'm just better at losing weight or gaining weight, one or the other. But since my main focus is losing weight now, I just wonder if the back of my mind I just want to stay here. But I don't. Most of you know that my son was diagnosed with a fibrotic liver, which is a stage 3, and when you get to a stage 4, you need a transplant. And I'm just a really realistic person, and I immediately wanted to know, like, if he advances to the stage 4, who is going to be his liver donor. And so I found out that I met all the requirements, except for the doctor said I was too obese to ever be a donor for my son. You have to have a BMI of less than 25 to donate. So that's what I'm working on. as soon as the doctor said that last summer, I made the appointment the quickest I could. They had an appointment in Nuevo Laredo with Dr. Villarreal in 2 weeks, and I took it. And all of my family forbid me from going and said we'd save the money and we'd have it here in the United States because my insurance wouldn't cover it. But I said, there's just no way. I did some research. I found some people that had it in Nuevo Laredo, and I interviewed them, and I felt comfortable, and I knew I needed this help, and so that's what I did. But speaking of traveling, that's what I really need to be talking to you about. So my son is fortunate that we get to go to Boston Children's Hospital because they're the best in the world for gastroenterology. And he was born with gastroschisis, and so that's really what's behind this. He wasn't born with a liver problem. The liver problem came later after he was on and off for an entire year of TPN, which is IV nutrition. And so a side effect of that, of the lipids that they mix into that, is damage to the liver. So anyways, that's a long story, but we're just really fortunate that we get to go to Boston Children's Hospital now and that they take such thorough care of him. But we live in southeast Oklahoma, and so it's quite the travel, quite the journey to get to Boston. But, every 8 or 10 weeks, or just depending on how he's doing. Sometimes we have to go every month, sometimes we get to go every 2 or 3 months. But we make the trip to Boston. And we've been doing that for about 14 months now, I'd say, 15 months. And this time we went, and Boston is just a really fit city, is what I'd say. Maybe it's just because I come from southeast rural Oklahoma, and I'm used to being surrounded where it's more acceptable to be overweight or even obese, I would say. And nobody walks anywhere. We don't have public transportation. We don't even have a local doctor. I mean, everyone travels an hour or so to go to a real doctor. And so I go to Boston, and it's just such a fit, health conscious, city. In my eyes, it must be like the fittest city in the world. I don't know, but it just happens to be where I go, and I'm just comparing and contrasting. And we walk everywhere. You walk and get the train. You walk and get the bus. You just walk where you're going. Nobody drives. They do a lot with such a little amount of space. It's really not that big of a city. It's just so much packed into a small area. And so every building mainly has stairs. And it's even a challenge for me to get the stroller in and out. I mean, because there's stairs everywhere. And it's such an old city that lots of places really aren't handicap accessible. So anyways, you go upstairs. And so I get to Boston this trip, and it was just really wonderful. I walked everywhere, and before, like, even walking like a mile, I was so sweaty and out of breath, and so we'd stop and take a picture in front of something like I put on Instagram, the old State House, and you could see in the first picture, like, my hair's kind of slicked down more, and I'm sweaty, and I am hot and red. But this time I wasn't, and we walked, one day we walked a half marathon, walked 13 miles just for fun, and saw all the sights, because he's outpatient during this trip, and so he got to go to the hospital and do his tests and measures, and then we had the evenings, and then we actually had an extra day because Southwest donated his flight to Children Flights of Hope, and that's part of the reason that we get to go. I mean, just because so many organizations and things have stepped up, and they've helped us in so many ways. It's just so generous that Southwest donated his flight, but the only flight that they had on the voucher was on Sunday, so we had an extra day on Saturday for some sightseeing before we flew back late on Sunday. But anyways, while we were there, we were just doing all this walking and sightseeing, and Boston Children's Hospital got tickets from the Red Sox for the game, and they gave a set to me and my son, and we enjoyed going down. And everyone knows that Fenway Park is so old, and it's just got such a great atmosphere. We love it so much. This was the first time we'd ever been to a game, but we got to tour the stadium. They gave us tour passes last year for his birthday, and this year we actually got to go to the game. But anyway, so we were sitting in their old, stadium seating, which, everything was built smaller back then. And we were packed in with all the people and just having a good time. But I say all this because I haven't ever told anyone, any of the doctors. I haven't ever told. Like, we usually stay with this hospitality host family, and they're a very healthy Asian family, and they have congratulated me on my weight loss, but never asked any questions, and I just like never came up, and I never considered, how to tell any of these people that I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy. Not that it even matters. And they obviously are just happy I'm losing weight, and so that's really not an issue. But so while I was there, when I flew in, was doing all these activities, I would say that for the first time in my life, I felt like a normie. I didn't feel like people were ever staring like they would before. I wasn't ever sweating, or like when I was walking with someone, I wasn't so out of breath I couldn't really talk with them. Just things like that. But I found myself indulging like I'm a normie. And I really went off the deep end. And I went off the deep end in more than just one area. I packed all my healthy snacks, and apparently I challenged myself. I just said I was so hungry. Like, in my mind, I kept on saying, I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry. And I ate all my healthy snacks within 24 hours. And I knew that, once they were gone, I would resort to other things, to eating other things. And so that's what happened. I ate all my healthy snacks that I'd packed, and I had packed 4 days of 1 ounce nuts, and I ate all 4 1 ounce containers, and just other healthy things like that I'd packed. And then I had to resort to all these unhealthy foods. And the family we were staying with, we were celebrating their son's 10th birthday, and for his birthday, he had never had any kind of Mexican food, and he picked, the son, he picked out this stuff, and he knows that we raise cattle for a living, and so he never had the Mexican dinner, and they really don't eat very much red meat in their culture. And so he said, will you bring that stuff, and will you fix it for me? And so I did. I packed up all this stuff, and I fixed him a Mexican fiesta, which I was fine. I could eat, beans and, ground beef and cheese and sour cream and salsa. I eat all that stuff. But he also wanted me to make a sofapilla cheesecake. And at first, I initially was gonna resist, but we blew out candles, and he wanted to serve everyone, and so he served me a piece, and instead of saying no thank you, I ate it, and it was so good. But I kind of made this pact with myself a long time ago that until I got to goal, I wouldn't be indulging in things like that. I know that sugar is my food addiction, and I wasn't going to go down that path, but the last couple of weeks, I have been going down that path. Um, so that was a bad decision. And then when we were at the Fenway Park at watching the Red Sox play, my son, he fell asleep about the sixth inning, and he just turned 2. And it was so enjoyable that he was asleep. I was watching the game. It was just peaceful, and I was so hungry and so thirsty is the only bad thing, and he was asleep. I didn't dare want to wake him up. Plus, you're packed in there with all the people. And the only concession stand guy that kept on coming up and down past me was a guy selling beer. And so, out of necessity, once again, I just started getting drinks from him. And I got several drinks. And the bad thing is I don't even like beer. So it was totally off plan. And I was indulging in something I don't even like. And I'm just so mad at myself for doing that. The week continued, and I made more choices like that. One night, the last night we were there before we were leaving on Sunday night, they had this Asian family. Their diet, I would say, is the complete opposite of mine. It's very carb heavy, very low fat, more like what you think of in the standard American diet. And so they have, like, on their countertop, they have like 10 boxes of different kinds of cereal. And I made it my mission that night. Everyone was asleep, which is another, binging kind of food addiction kind of behaviors. When everyone was asleep, not out in the open, I made it my goal. I'd try every one of those cereals, and I did it, and made myself sick. I ate until I was sick, which is something that I haven't done until now. And I was really mad at myself for doing that too. Whenever we got home, I had that old fear of the scale, and I did not want to weigh. So I at least knew that I'd be coming in with y'all on Thursday, and so I did. At least I started fasting on Monday morning, but I still didn't want to weigh. And I'm having lots of second thoughts about fasting and if it's really the best thing for me, even though I do agree with everything Dr. Fung says. I agree with his research. I think there's so many health benefits. I'm like second guessing whether it's the right path for me right now because of the mental spot that I've been in. When I got home on Monday, of course, day 1 and day 2 are the hardest. And I was so hungry. And I kept on saying that. You can just imagine the little, like, angel in my mind and then the little devil. And the angel was saying, "I'm really hungry, Rachel." And the devil was saying, "You deserve this. You deserve to be hungry. You made these stupid decisions." And then a little bit of time would go by and it'd come back. "Wow, I'm really hungry. I really wish I could eat. I'm really sorry that I made those bad decisions." And it'd come back on, and then, the other side of my head that would just be like, "This is your punishment. This is your punishment. You don't deserve to eat." And it nearly brought me to tears. It almost brings me to tears now, because I don't want to have that kind of reward punishment mentality around food. And 6 months ago, like when I was, just 6 months out of surgery, I would have thought, wow, I really use food for fuel now. But here I am, I feel like at ground zero, viewing food as a reward punishment system. And it doesn't feel good. But anyways, I got myself into this mess, and so I knew I needed to get back to reality. Of course, after everything I went through, like fasting was kind of the best course of action because I had so many carb cravings coming home. I could barely fight it off. Um, so, like, fasting does get the cravings out of your system. But another aspect of it is so I fasted for 72 hours. And then Wednesday night, I started eating again. And when I started eating again on Wednesday night, like, I ate a steak and I didn't even measure it out. And while the steak was cooking, I ate a couple cheese sticks. And really, it was more binging type of eating behavior, even though it was on my normal keto foods. And so I thought that's not good. I did a little bit of research on that, and what the doctors say is that on average, the day after a fast, all the patients do binge. They usually binge between 5 and 700 calories, and but what it shows is that 5 to 700 calories doesn't undo all the positive benefits that you've gained in each day that you have fasted. So, anyways, I don't necessarily, like, that's not a reason that's deterring me from fasting. It's really just what I was talking about, the punishment versus reward system of food. Um, so after fasting, for the 72 hours, um, I was able to weigh in for the diet bed I'd been doing. That's another thing is I'd signed up for another diet bet. I did a 6-month diet bet called a Transformer series over the holidays. I did it through Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. I did it, all the way through until it was just a while back that it had been 6 months. And I won that, and I just used the money that I'd been awarded, and I put some of it towards just a regular 1 month diet bet to try to give like a final push towards my goal weight. But anyways, it was by the skin of my teeth I was able to get my weight back down and to the 184 to win my diet bet again and to come in and talk to you today. And so once again, like, I appreciate you being my accountability system. I appreciate you being my support group. And I just wanted to come on and be honest and tell you where I am, where I'm at, and my goal for the next 3 weeks. I'm 3 weeks until my 1 year surgery, and I'd really like to lose. I'd really like to lose 10 and 3, perforce, and a lot of her followers are doing 5 and 5, but I had it in my goal. I really wanted to get to goal by my surgery, but that's probably not going to happen. So more realistically, I just want to stay on plan. I want to be fasting less and just having a balanced approach more, just until I can get out of this headspace. I definitely think that fasting should be part of my forever plan, to where, like, maybe once a year I do like a 7-day fast for the autophagy effects, for the autophagy benefits, and maybe just as a reset, people call it. But on a continuous basis, I can see that it might not be the healthiest thing for me. I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. But a more realistic goal is my son's appointments went well. The fiber scan on his liver showed that he is still at a grade 3 fibrotic liver. And so, and sometimes people can live at a grade 3 with a grade 3 fibrotic liver if he didn't have to ever go back on IV nutrition. Maybe he could live it with a fibrotic liver forever, but maybe not. You said one time, the doctor said sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's a lifetime. You can't ever tell. I just always need to be ready, because that's my job as a mother. But anyways, they weren't happy with, he hasn't gained any weight. He grew 2 centimeters, but his weight stayed the same. And once children turn 2, they have to go on a new growth chart, and that dropped him down to around 7th percentile. And they don't want any of their patients below 20th percentile. and so they're giving me the next couple months to give him more tube feedings. They added calories and they added hydration, and so we're gonna have to do more bolus feeds through his G tube. Um, I was disappointed because I wanted to start weaning off because he's becoming more oral. Since he didn't have anything in his mouth until he was about 4.5 months old, he has somewhat of an oral aversion, but he's been doing better and better, and he's taking more things orally. So I had this goal. I wanted to work away from the tube, but anyways, we're diving back into the tube, and hopefully over the next couple months we can achieve that. So the first part of August we go back to Boston Children's Hospital, and they'll go through all the testing and everything again. But I was thinking, so in the next couple months, that could be my goal. If I could lose, like 5 pounds a month for the next couple months, that might be more realistic before we go back to the hospital. So that's it for today. I hope you're all having a great week. And the last thing I wanted to mention is I watch everyone. Like, if I can come across you, I watch everyone, even if it's just playing in the background while I'm doing different things. If my son was old enough, I had to take medical leave and stay home with my son, and so while we're doing his medicine and tube feeds and everything, if he was old enough to really realize, he would feel like all of you are his family, because he sees you more than he sees his own blood family. But anyways, we watch Jess with Watch Kitty Shrink, and she's doing a giveaway. And so I just wanted to encourage any of you that do not watch her to check out her channel. I'm going to try to do a little bit of editing this time so that YouTube doesn't catch me with another one of those crazy faces, every direction. And so anyways, I'll try to put her link below, since I'm going to dive into a little bit of editing, and just check her out. Another thing is I'm just going to give one other shout out, is Foodie Turned Sleevey. She has this video that at the airport literally popped up on my home screen on YouTube, and it's called How to Get Out of Funk, How to Get Back on Track. And I have watched that video like on repeat. She says so many good things, and I just want to encourage you to watch that video. If any of you feel the way I feel, just kind of had a stumbling block, or in a funk, need to get it back on track, like that's what she named it, that's what it is. And so I'll also try to link that below, just that specific video. So remember, if you keep God on your mind and in your heart, you'll always be successful. Love you all. Bye.